1 week after joining our coaching program, Mimi went from working 2 hours a day to being able to work 5 hours a day. Do you want to know how she did it? Welcome to the Overcoming PTSD podcast. My name's Kayleen, and today I have something really special to share with you. It's an interview I did just a few weeks ago with an amazing client of ours. Her name is Mimi, and I'm going to let her share all about that win and many other wins she's experienced in the past couple of months working with us. So we'll dive right in. But I'm so glad that we're on because I didn't think we'd be able to get here. So welcome.
Well, thank you for having me. So glad to see you. Finally, I've seen Brad a couple of times in coaching sessions, but never you. I've seen you in the Q&As, but you've never seen me.
Yeah, this is awesome. This is something so special that this all happened. The whole reason that we even have Zoom because of everything that's gone on in the world in the last year and a half. We got comfortable with it. Everyone got comfortable with it, which is really awesome. So that we've been able to do this and get other people involved and that people are fairly comfortable doing things like this now is just super cool.
For me, it's a first.
It is a first?
Yes. I bought the camera expressly for when I registered in the program.
That's
never used and I never did Zooms, and it's for me it's really new. I work on a computer. I've worked on computers all my life for over 30 years in accounting and in biology, and but only on the only on only on the things that I had to the word is missing, the micro the only the micro only the technology that I was using.
Yeah, that makes sense.
At the end of the day, I'd come home and okay, that's over. So if I was in biology, when the lab was closed, everything I used in the lab, everything was closed. So okay, that's over. So I never used interactive things like this.
Well, you're doing great, honestly, because it can quite honestly be a disaster, especially at first, myself included. I remember the first time I used it, I actually used it first during the pandemic for a workout group. And I was like, hold the phone. I am not working out on camera while it's being recorded with other women, but I work out with other women. And they were just local women. So I got comfortable with it, but at first it was chaos. So congrats on getting here and being here and doing it.
Well, thank you.
That is so awesome.
Yeah, it's really out of my comfort zone. First of all, to be in a program with people, when I went to therapy, asking for help, that was out of my comfort zone. To be in a group, in a program, that's completely out of it. When I registered and it showed that there was a community on Facebook, I thought to myself, that's not going to be me. I'm not going to be on that. And finally, I'm on it. I forced myself to go on it from day one. And I found that I get a lot of support and I get a lot of strength from that. And it's something that I never got throughout my life. And I'm 56. So I go and get something out of it, and I give back. I try to give back in that way too. So I'm always going out of my comfort zone, and to be on the Q&As and to ask questions in class. I would never ask questions. You talked about when you were enrolled in a sailing lesson, and you loved sailing, but you didn't want to go to. I was enrolled in a sailing lesson, and I commented, and you did not answer because and I thought to myself, maybe she didn't like one of the comments I made, because I thought we would have been friends even if I didn't have many friends when I was a kid. uh, we were the way you're talking, we were from the same cloth, because I didn't like people. I loved animals. I loved nature, but not people. And when I was enrolled in classes like that, I loved sailing and I loved sports. And I would be in the parking lot waiting for my mom, and I would talk to the squirrels and the birds, but I wouldn't talk to anyone else.
That is me to a T. That is so funny. I must have just missed that comment, because that is me even now as an adult. Like when I see people walking with their dog, I'll like go down and I'll have a whole conversation with the dog and then just walk away. And now as an adult, I have to be like, ask their name, talk to the people. Like that's like a
Yeah,
weird
yeah,
thing to do. But
yeah.
so I totally get that. That is so, so funny.
Yeah, I still talk to the birds outside. And if it's a crow, I'm going to talk in crow.
I love that. One of my favorite moments actually in my relationship with Brad ever. This is how I knew, like, for sure, like, this is my guy. Like, there's nothing wrong. Had brought home a stray. So I was out late, and then I was out at a friend's house. I was going to a friend's house. So he went to bed early. And
Yeah,
on my way to like my friend's house, it was this rainy, cold day. I found this stray dog and like cleaned him up, whatever. I also had my dog Shiloh with me, gave him a little bath. I went to my friend's house. My friends were all like, oh my gosh, he's great. And then I took him home, and I like went into bed, and I was like, hey, because he like Brad stirred a little bit. I was like, hey, just so you know, I brought home a stray. And I think he like giggled a little. He was like, oh, funny, because he thought I was talking about my dog, Shiloh. I was like,
yeah.
okay, well, and the dog like slept in bed with us, and he like got up the next morning, and he like looked over because the dog was all like snuggled up on me, and Shiloh was snuggled up, and he was like, you really did. And he was, what's it? Can we keep him? And I was like, okay, perfect. I was like, we can't keep him. He does have a family, but we named him and stuff. And that was a really sweet moment. So I get the animals thing big time, big time.
Yeah, yeah. So that's just to explain that for me to be part of things with people, it's really hard for me. And to be part of I'm going to be part of a tug group, and just I'm trembling inside, but I'm doing it. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, it's part of the community. It can be bad.
It's awesome. I was part of the first tug group. It's awesome. And I'm so proud of you for, stepping out of your comfort zone. That's how you grow, right? That's why you're here and you're continuing to do that. That's awesome.
Yeah,
It is weird. It is uncomfortable.
yeah,
And at every turn, it seems like still it's been a reward for stepping out of that comfort zone. So I'm super, super proud of you. And that kind of also kind of leads us to why we're here, right? So this is the first time that
exactly.
I've done this too, in regards to this. And,
Yeah,
just to celebrate success and to share wins of any shape or size, to show people. I want to show people that like healing is possible, growth is possible. And a lot of people, like you shared and like I was, are scared of sometimes of that growth, of that healing, of that step outside the comfort zone to see what's possible. And so that's kind of why we're here. And so just to kick off with that and how great the community is an amazing kind of start, because I'll tell you, maybe you've heard me share this on the Q&As. I don't really share this like publicly, but on the Q&As, I'll share this. When we started the tug groups, actually, but the Unbreakable community on Facebook, it was Brad's idea.
yeah,
Brad was like, we have to get this community going. Like it would just add so much. And I was like, hun, like, I just don't think it's going to work. I just don't think that people are going to be able to show up and just be supportive. There's so many negative groups out there. I was like, I don't think it's going to work, but I'll try it. And that was out of my comfort zone to even like start it, because we're doing everything so privately, and it has just taken off and it has flourished. And he approached me last December or November with the tug group idea. He said, we'll do tiny groups with people. And I said, hun, I just don't think it's going to work. And time again, this community and everyone in this program have proved me wrong, that, they can come to the table with a positive mindset. They can focus on kind of the right things and just give support and give love. And it's so amazing because these are some of the most hurt people in the world with the
Yeah.
most pain on their shoulders, and they can still show up and they can still give love and receive love. And it is just so, so beautiful. So I'm excited for you to be part of that TED group. That's going to be awesome.
Yeah. 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 Like you said, it's we're part of a community that is quite hurt, and in many ways, and sometimes to trust, to be able to give love is quite a challenge, and to be able to do that is quite hard. So to do that, this community is giving us this opportunity, and it's making us see that it's possible to do it again. And I think that just this in itself is a lesson.
It sure is. I mean, it's one giant reference, right? Just that, like, there are people out there that will just love you regardless and support you, and you can give love. And like, there's, creating this safe space, right? A lot of times when you talk about, or when you think about healing and you hear things on healing, people say like, okay, well, you need a sense of safety. And that's one of the things that I was really surprised that this group would be able to kind of provide this sense of safety, this sense of home, this just like grounded community of family, right? We call it sometimes the unbreakable family. And it's just,
Right.
it is so special. So it's awesome that you're part of it and you push yourself out of your comfort zone. I cannot tell you how proud of you that I actually am, because
Thank you.
well, right, cut from the same cloth, that I feel everything that you're feeling, even as like the creator and the teacher and the educator. I'm like in January, we did a big public Zoom call we like sent it to our email list, and I did a live training, and there were like a couple of hundred people on there. And I was like, oh my goodness, like I have no problem standing up on stage, but everyone like on my computer screen, for whatever reason, like I was in my bedroom. It was like this whole thing. So I'm just so proud of you for that. And I know when we scheduled this, you had mentioned, there's so many wins that go on, right? It's amazing when you start looking at wins. There's so many wins that go on, obviously within the community, but on a personal level, week to week, month to month. I know one of the things you wanted to kind of like touch on was mindset. Do you want to like talk a little bit about that? Also, do you want to do just like a quick intro, just for,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Do you want? I've prepared the answers to the questions.
Prepared.
My name. So my name is Maureen Mimi Levasseur. I was raised in both languages. That's why sometimes it's easier in English, sometimes it's easier in French. I'm in the program since August the 18th. I've lived a lot of traumas in my life. I won't go through that because that's not the priority right now. Priority is healing. And the thing is, on the 17th, I really hit rock bottom, but major rock bottom, and I didn't know what was happening. I couldn't see that it was related to a trauma. For many months, I was not okay, and I couldn't see what was happening. And on the 17th, I lost it completely. That's when I went on the site of the trauma, and I lost it completely. And I couldn't really fathom the fact that was happening, that was the thing that was happening to me again, another PTSD. So I came back home and I couldn't stop crying, and I I was dysfunctional for many months, and that night I was like, what am I going to do right now? It's like I've tried therapy, I've tried essential oils, I've tried a lot of things. I've been meditating for over 25 years. I couldn't see what I could do more. I was a member of the website Overcoming PTSD already. And that night, I went on the website just to see what was posted. I didn't go on the website regularly at that time, but that night I went. And you were about to give a presentation on the program, and the presentation was about to begin in about, I think, 5 or 10 minutes, and I had to register to be to watch the presentation. Otherwise, I had the possibility to watch it the next day. I told myself, I'm here now, and it's in 5 minutes. That's a sign I'm registering now. And I saw your presentation of the program. And after you started to talk, when you said that it's possible to heal, I had never heard that before. And the conviction you had when you said that, and the way you presented the facts, the science, I started to cry. I was overwhelmed with the fact that I felt I was at the right place, that this was where I was supposed to be, and that I would heal. I was convinced that this was going to change my life. Sorry.
No, you're all good, Mimi. Thank you for sharing.
And it is exactly what it did. The presentation lasted 3 hours approximately. I took 11 pages of notes. That's my type of person. I'm the no, I'm like that at all the Q&As, and I take notes. But I felt at that moment, I had been months crying every day. And the last days, I had been crying every day, all day long. From that moment on, I went to sleep and I saw light at the end of the tunnel, which I had never seen before, not even in therapy. The next day, I didn't cry at all. I never cried afterwards. I want to thank you for changing my world. You changed me inside. I truly am thankful. My family and my clients have seen the change. I don't know what could be said to make people believe in the program, but this is something out of the box if you compare to traditional things that we have seen before, but it works. So this is my intro. which is long, but I think it's worth it.
Well, Mimi, thank you so much for sharing that. And I'm so touched that we've been able to be on this journey together, and you've kind of accepted me into your life to be on this journey and to be part of the program. And I want to thank you for being here, because like I put myself out there basically to the whole world, right? To anyone that speaks English. And I put myself out there, anyone who speaks English, anyone that has internet access, but it's you that changes your life, right? Like, I'm here to give the information as best I can, but it's
Yes.
you that took it. It's you that took notes. It's you that said, yes, okay, like, I hear the conviction. I'm going to lean into this. So I want to thank you for being here and you for doing that work, because you are the one that did the work and changed your life, and you were able to do that. And I'm so grateful that I was to be able to be a part of that journey, and that you're part of the program and part of the community. It's just so beautiful. It's so touching. Yeah, and to hear you talk about your clients and your family and just feeling that change. That's what I want. That's why I wanted to do these interviews, to show people that, like, it's one thing to take my word for it. And I get it. If I heard me speak when I was at rock bottom, I probably would have flipped me off, like I was not in a very good headspace. But to hear more people just show and share that this is possible, this is real, it's different, it's really strange, because it's not the traditional path, right? And it's something out of the box, because guess what? The box doesn't work. It doesn't work for most people. So
Yeah.
thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. So I've been in the program since August 18th, when I discovered the program. I had to take a break for approximately 3 weeks when I had a health problem. So now we are November 8th. So it hasn't been that long, but I've seen major changes. So for me, it's been really a big life-altering change. The win I wanted to share is the change of mindset. For me, that's the major thing, and it's right from the start. So it changes you right from the start. The program demonstrates how much the change of mindset can bring you. It changes at any given level, the change of outcome in the overall thinking process in general in your life. It changes your attitude, your decision making, the choices you make. It's how you sail your boat. So everything changes from the moment on. You change your mindset. And for me, this was really significant, because I've always been the one in charge. I've been a single parent all my life. My daughter's 30 now, but I've always been, even when I was married, I was the one in charge. And I was always in the prevention mode, or fight or flight, or there was always a situation where I was supposed to take charge, or I was never put in a position where my mindset was left to be in a choice of positiveness. And it was always a reaction mode. And this for me is new, completely new. It's not that I was negative, and it's not that I was, when I was in fight or flight, yes, you look for the negative, but when you're in a prevention mode, it's more, you think of all the scenarios that are possible. So it's more a mother instinct. but for me, this is completely a change. It's like you were going east, now you're going west.
It's a big difference.
It's really a big difference. So for me, this is completely different. And to do this takes awareness. Awareness for me is something I was practicing already with meditation from over 25 years. So the thing is, my type of awareness was more contemplative than what I'm practicing now. Now it's more shifting in a proactive way to go and take action afterwards. So I'm going. It's more like what I've noticed is my awareness is evolving in this program, which is a new thing too, and it's fun. It's really fun because I was already aware. This now is becoming an awareness, but taking action and taking action in a positive way. So it's all like a game now. And all of this is becoming the new me. And people are noticing. So it's not just something for me. It's for me, of course, but it's not just something inside of me, keeping between the walls and of my condo. It's getting outside too, and even my interactions with people are different. So they're more fun, and they represent who I am. I'm the type of person who people used to come to me for help, for advice, and I've closed myself to people the past years. So now I'm beginning to open up again because of this, and it feels okay. I'm not a people person, but to help people is okay for me. So this is it's like a game, and I feel the positive effects, and people see it and they tell me, and when they tell me, it confirms to me that I'm not just feeling it. It's really effective in a good way all around. So this for me is really something that shows me that the program is effective. And this is something that was within the first week. Within the first week, I have to say that I was, the fact that I was already putting the awareness at work and that for me this was easy. Maybe it was easier, I don't know, but if you put in the work, I think that anyone can do it in a easy way, quick. Because if you notice it, if you then you stop yourself at doing the bad thinking, and you bring yourself back to the good thinking, the positive thinking, and you swap for the positive thoughts, and you have to be aware all the time. And it's an exercise when you're not used to it, but it brings you to positive thinking and positive doing, and it's really what it's all about. It's all about, and I think that the program helps a lot on that part.
Maybe I think that's awesome. I love that you describe it like a game. And that's, I was actually just going to ask you, how quickly do you feel like, because relatively, like you haven't been in the program that long, right? So like I was
No.
going to ask you how quickly, because for some people, or for most people, typically it's like if you start the program and you start taking action, it's really within the first week and 2 weeks that like people start to feel that change, which is so weird. And then to have that experience of having other people like notice and feel it, it becomes like truly like palpable to the world around you. And it's amazing. That to me is like one of the weirdest and wildest things, because like you're doing this work internally, like you're not really taking different external actions, but it leads to, the internal world, of course, leads to the external world. So I think it's awesome that that you're having that experience. That's really common for people. Like, okay, pretty quickly we're starting to see like, okay, we're taking action, like weird, we're seeing changes, which a
Yeah.
lot of people, when they either when we've been on webinars, like have questions about stuff like that, because there's a couple of stories or testimonials that I typically share on webinars that, people have been in therapy for however long and like no results for years. And then the first couple of weeks in the program, they're getting results. I'm like, that's why, because we're really truly starting with the foundational work of mindset. And I'm glad that you had a head start with all the awareness work, which is awesome, because it puts you in that much of a better position to do the rest of the work. And I love that you describe it as a game. You have
Yeah.
this energy about you that is like, okay, like next thing, next point, next
Yeah.
obstacle.
Yeah.
And that's amazing. And we definitely are cut from the same cloth. If I watched the webinar, I would have had 11 pages of notes too. So that's awesome.
Oh yeah. And when I started the program, I had nightmares every night for years, like most people with PTSD. And when I started the program, after approximately 1 week, I think, the nightmares stopped. Then I had the reason I had to stop for 3 weeks is during I lived through some seizures, and that because of a trauma that surfaced, and that brought back some nightmares. So I'm going to have to go through some processing with that.
Just that you have that
I can
mindset,
go
right?
away.
Like, here's an obstacle, I'm going to have to do some processing. That is the mindset. That's what's going to get you there. It's like beautiful to hear, even just the way that you're describing this. I had this thing came up, which
Yeah,
is, I wouldn't say incredibly common to have seizures, but something that can happen because of trauma. And then, okay, so you're just your mindset, right? Okay, so I'm going to have to do some processing to work through the
yeah.
root of that. Is amazing.
It's just that it is scary, because now each time I approach that trauma, I'm kind of scared a bit that it's gonna start over. So I'm kind of scared a bit, but not but, sorry. And I'm gonna work on the processing and how to approach the subject in a way that it's going to be less stressful.
Yeah, Mimi, that's all. I love your switch to the and stance. I love that.
Always.
Always, yeah. And we can definitely as you approach that, we kind of talk about, especially stuff like that. That fear is like incredibly reasonable, so specifically with something like this, right? And so
Right.
we definitely want to take a gentle approach to that.
Yeah.
Which, as you get kind of ready to approach this, definitely show up to the Q&As, and like we can talk you through some different more gentler approaches to kind of go step by step with this, so you don't kind of jump in a little bit too fast. Specifically with this one, that's the one that like you can jump in a little fast, but we can just kind of go step by step.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm always there for the Q&As. It's quite to even if I don't have questions, sometimes the questions that are brought in by others are questions I didn't even think of, and could be something that in the long run are questions that may serve me. So I take notes. I always take notes.
I love that. I love that. I love that you show up. You are someone that like, and this would have been me in the program too. Is like, I don't want to be part of the community, but I will. I'm gonna jump in. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go full force. I'm gonna be there. And that's like your success is a testament to the work that you put in. So kudos on that. And I'm so glad to always have you on the Q&As.
Thank you. And my success is your success.
We all go up. We all succeed.
Next is there was a question that said the program work done to earn this win. Believing in it was something that I would mention, because if you don't believe in it, then probably it's not going to work in the same way for you. The minute like I said in the intro, the minute I was there listening to you, I felt I was at the right place at the right time in my life. And for me, I was believing in it more than 100%. And I was ready to go full in. I was ready to heal. I was looking for a solution that was not therapy because it didn't work for me. I tried it at a couple of places, and I'm not a typical kind of gal. I'm not the in the box. I've never been in there's no box for me, never. So I was looking for something. I kept looking, but I never found. So I thought, this is it. So I believed in it from the start. And that for me, I think, was the key. I believed in it, and I believed it worked for me because it was, I'm someone that in my life was often self-taught. So that part of it, that there's a part that you can go in the modules and do the modules by yourself. And that part was very alluring for me because there wasn't a teacher in front telling you, okay, you do this, you do that, you're not good at this. That for me, and there's not a therapist from that time till that time. For me, your technique was the best for me. So I believed in it, and that it would work for me. For the rest, I can't put one single item. It's a package deal. The mindset, the awareness, working on it, and the evolution of all that together. Because when you start, you have to start at one point. You can't start and be at the processing point. So you have to start with something. The mindset is perfect. You start with the basis, and then you evolve. And when you get at a point when you're ready, then you process. It's really a road, a path that is logical. Spock would say so. Live long and prosper.
I love that you feel that way, Mimi, because, a lot of people are like, why don't you teach processing first? I'm like, there's a reason. Like, I'm not trying to waste your time for however many hours. There's a very specific reason.
Yeah.
And that order is really important, right? Because you do have to start somewhere,
Right.
but it really does build on itself. And I love that you mentioned before, like, believing in it. One of the first things that we do in the program, and we went back and forth on this because we're like, is it fluff? Is it not fluff? is in the first module. I don't know if you even remember, it's probably been a little while, but one of the things we kind of talk about, we call it, myths basically about recovery. And so we try to just very gently start to change people's beliefs of like, hey, this is possible for you. And here are some examples of it working for specific types of people. And here's why it will work for you, and kind of go a little bit through just these myths to disconfirm them for people so they can, because the more you believe, the more you're going to take action, right? And the more action you take, the better the results that you're going to get. So I think
Yeah.
it's awesome that you had that kind of like, and some people have that where they're just like, oh, this is it. This is exactly what I'm looking for. I need this freedom so I can go at my own pace, so I can go at my own speed, but I still can get support. Like, so I'm glad that you mentioned that, and that you kind of recognize that as a moment for you, or a thing for you that was really kind of like
Oh yeah,
important.
totally. Totally. Yeah. And afterwards, why was doing the work worth the win? That's really easy. It completely transformed my life from dysfunctional to functional. It's easy.
That was in the hat for the name of the program.
It was, listen, like I said, the day I saw the program, I was crying all the time, every day, all day long. And the next day I didn't cry. So first of all, that's a win. Then in the office, I was down to 2 hours a day. I couldn't work more than that. And every day was down, every day. I was down, down, down. I had difficulty working, concentrating. I really was struggling with work for the past weeks. It wasn't months, it was weeks. And when I started the program, it started to go up. So I thought to myself, wow, she's talking about energy coming back. In 1 week, I was up to 5 hours a day. I couldn't believe it. I hadn't changed my routines yet, and this was happening. So just, I felt that probably the fact that I saw the light at the end of the tunnel, I wasn't crying anymore, and that there was the positive thinking, the all this put together in the same hat, and instead of a bunny, it was work time. And all of a sudden, I was functional again, at a minimal, but it was coming back. I felt it was coming back. So for me, it was major, and I could see it in 1 week. I thought to myself, this is the proof. If anyone needed proof, this was the proof that this is working full speed ahead.
Mimi, that's amazing. And it's really cool to kind of have a metric like that. You know, some things are like feelings, and then people start to notice and you're like, okay, you're getting that feedback. But to have a metric like that, I was down to 2 hours. And then like after just doing this work, like hope in and of itself is a very powerful thing. The mindset work is, we start there for a reason. It's unbelievable. It's quick for the most part, and you can build no matter what level you're at, to go like to have that metric, that in and of itself. Like a lot of people, you know, when we start working together, or when they're like kind of seeking help and seeking options, I'm like, listen, you might not even be fully aware of how many areas that this is touching. And if you just put your focus on it, like it is going to bring everything up, right? Like all ships rise in a tide or something like that. It's that concept, like work, family, sleep, everything gets touched by this. So thank you for
Yes.
sharing that.
Yeah. Well, I was pretty aware since I'm a very aware person that I was dysfunctional. I knew it. I wasn't talking about it pretty much. A few people very close knew it, but there wasn't much that could be done since therapy wasn't working. But some people were suggesting that I go to therapy, and I said no. They were very discouraged about that, and but for me, it wasn't an option, not even an option. And so, but I was seeing that I was going down, and it was going down fast and faster and faster. And I wasn't understanding what was happening. And I really needed help, but I couldn't know, I didn't know who to go to. I didn't know. I really was in distress, and I was all alone, really. And like you have Shiloh, I had my cat, but my cat left me in May after 13 years. And so I felt really alone. And that was really hard, to be that low and really alone. I'm a person that lives very well with solitude, as long as I have my animals. In the condo, since I left where I lived before, I don't have animals. I had my cat, but I don't have any animals. So I really was struggling. So when I found the program, that saved my life. It really saved my life. So you saved my life. I know you're gonna say you did the work and everything, but it comes down to that night when I saw you say that I can heal. You saved my life that night.
Well, thank you, Mimi. And I'm unbelievably honored to have that impact in your life. And I'll spare you the lecture because it was absolutely a team effort. You have been listening because you know me very well. But again, I'm absolutely touched that we get to be in each other's lives, and that I've had that impact on you, and that you've welcomed me into your life and into your journey. And one of the things that Brad says a lot about recovery, like when we do our podcast and our content and stuff like that, he says, it's a very lonely journey, even for people. Brad and I are both enormous introverts, and like, don't ever want to go out. Like, we love our families, but would prefer, you get it. Right. And so it's still very lonely. And so to have that support, even when you're okay in solitude, I can't imagine what it's like for actual extroverts, but is so important and so necessary. And like Brad, now we talk about like, this can be a lonely journey, but it doesn't have to be. Right now, we've kind of created this thing with the community that I didn't think would work. Like that it doesn't have to be this solo, lonely journey anymore. If you kind of step into this, if you join the community and join the tug groups, like, you're going to love the tug group. It's unbelievable. I ran the first one, and I truly feel like they're closer than some of my family members. And I didn't, to be honest with you, expect to get a lot out of it, because like, I'm me, right? Like, I didn't expect to, it's not something I need. It's not something I need to focus on. Like, and I got a tremendous amount out of it. And it's just like that connection is important, and that community, that support, just like camaraderie. I played sports all my life. And even though I'm an introvert, like that team, there was something so valuable about being on a team. And that's kind of what like Broken to Unbreakable and the Unbreakable community like feels like very much to me, myself included, like we're all on this team. We're like seeking this team goal, this team mission. And while everyone's working as an individual, we're all here as a team, kind of helping bring the team up. So it's, again, I'm absolutely honored and touched that I get to be a part of your life. And I'm so grateful that you're a part of mine as well. And that we all get to be part of that amazing community and lift each other up.
Yes, absolutely. If I had to talk to someone who was on the fence about the program, the thing I would say is the changes are extremely rapid. If you put in the work, you're going to see the changes really fast, and they're there. You can't deny it. They're going to happen. There's no way they're not going to happen. If you put in the work, like in the mindset, you're going to make changes happen. So just that, even if you stop after that, you're going to change something in your life. So for me, just if you change that, the major changes.
Huge, right? I mean, and I remember like there's one module in the program. I think I only used the word once, but I used the word inevitable. And I say, and my lawyers don't like this, but I say, if you take action, healing is inevitable for you. It will happen for you. I'm so happy that you said that, because that's the thing that a lot of people, in whether they're a coach or a therapist or a lawyer, right, are very afraid to say. And you don't have to be afraid to say it, because that's the truth. Like, it is inevitable for you if you continue to take action. And like the reality of like the group and the coaching, and like, we're going to make that a reality for you. If you're reaching a roadblock and you're like, something is just not working, that's what we're here for, to supplement, to say, okay, now try this angle, because we're going to get you from point A to point B, or point A probably more likely to like point Z. And it really is, if you take that action, and that is such a key element. And you've said that word quite a few times on the call here today. And that word action, like if I had, you ever seen one of those boards that like they take your most typed words from your emails, and like the word you type most is like biggest, action would be my biggest word. And then it would be Shiloh probably. Right. But the action part is so important. And that action and inevitability, like that's where the guarantee comes in. It is inevitable for you if you continue to take action. Those two things are absolutely tied together. So I think that's awesome that you shared that.
Cool. Then the first moment that I've always talked, I have already talked about it, but it's a question that is asked.
You're so thorough. I love it.
I'm sorry.
No, sorry. I love it. I love it.
Not when I'm in nature, but that's the other side. The first moment I felt that healing was possible, it's when you said it, and the way you said it, and I saw the light at the end of the tunnel with that for me, and I was so ready. I think that I had been ready for years, but at that point, I was so ready to be done with all of it, to have a normal life again, to be done with the crap. I was overwhelmed when you said that, in a good way. And for me, that was it. That's the first moment I felt that, okay, I'm gonna get healed.
Amy, I love that. I love that. For some people, I have to do so much work to kind of like get them to the point where they're like, oh, okay. And that is excellent. That's awesome. I'm so glad that you felt that. That is like what I
Oh,
just want. I just want people to feel like, especially on those trainings, on those webinars, anytime, like the authenticity of like, and it's big and it's like this big bad like claim because a lot of people have never heard that. And so for some people that's like a red flag, and then for some people they're like, I'm in. So I'm glad that you were like in right from the gate there.
oh, I know. Some people will ask many questions and they'll doubt, and some people will doubt anything. It's going to be right in front of them, and they're going to doubt. They're going to see a red apron, and they're going to doubt it's red. You know?
I use the example, and by no means do I need to mean to like pick on a group of individuals, but I feel like this is the safest to pick on if I'm going to pick on someone. Sometimes I use the example of like there are a group of people that believe that the Earth is flat.
Uh-huh.
They meet yearly and they do their thing, and like that's fine if that's what they believe. And it's just that, but that kind of thing is like there will always be people, and like
Yeah.
and from the mindset work, like our beliefs are just based on our interpretations, right? And so to be able to sway someone's belief, which is kind of what we're doing here, and what I'm working to do with these interviews, is like for those of you who are listening who like don't fully believe in recovery, that's okay. Let's just take one step at a time, right? Let's just get a little bit better and like look at the results and like feel the results. You take action, you're gonna get results, and we'll go from there, right?
Yeah.
One step, one step, one step, until you get to the point. And for a lot of people, there is a point. Not everyone that joins the program is like, okay, great, I'm gonna fully heal and this is awesome. Some people
Uh-huh.
are like, okay, well, I'm gonna join and with the hope of just getting a little bit better. And some
Yeah.
people say, I just want to get 30% better. And that would just mean the world to me. And I probably would have been in that group of people. And then they start to get better. And then they're like, okay, so like there's more. They start to want more. I say, we start to get greedy. And that's good. That's a good thing, to be able to continue on and on, kind of up that ladder. So that's the way it goes, right?
Then what's the biggest change? Like I said, I instantly stopped crying. That's the first change I noticed right away. So first change. And like I said in the intro, I joined the community and that made me come out of my comfort zone, got really lots of support from it. And I never thought I would join. And I did it on the first day, I think, putting my win, and got a lot of support. And it's then it was a spin-off. It was like, okay,
You're
let's
going,
go.
going. Now you're going to be part of a tug group, and you're gonna keep it going. Now you're doing this with me. That's awesome. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
you jumped in both feet and you rocked
Oh
it. I
yeah.
mean, you rocked
Oh
it.
yeah. Yeah. Sweating, but um, what would I say to someone who doesn't believe in recovery? Well, for one, I'm in a much better place now, and just a few weeks after starting, that I was before starting the program. I was functional again, even if it wasn't at 100%. It was functional. I wouldn't put a percentage on it, but I was functioning again. So for me, that's a big win. Then I've made a big progress in understanding my traumas. I've never closed the door on my traumas. I'm the type of person that analyzes throughout her life. Each time I lived something, I tried to analyze it, but sometimes it's time to go through something and move on. I didn't dwell on it, but I have a type of memory that you remember every single detail of everything. It's really like a curse. It doesn't serve much in life, not even in exams. But it's there. I have to deal with it. And in traumas, well, it's really a curse. And so yeah, I've made a lot of progress in understanding my traumas. And now I've learned how to make plans for certain circumstances ahead of time, before going on site or before facing certain circumstances. With the toolbox, I've learned how to manage certain things a bit more than coping mechanisms. That's before the processing, because I'm not in processing yet. I'm going to start in a short time. But I've done a bit of processing, I think, by myself, and that's what brought on the seizures. So that's major things for me. The part of understanding my traumas was the big thing, because it made me see traumas I didn't even know existed. Probably many people are like that. It made me see also links between certain traumas, like between the first trauma when I was 11 years old and the last trauma when I was 55. So all of that is all connected, and it's connected to health issues. So when it pops up, I don't even order it to pop up, but it pops up, and generally I'm making lunch. It's a funny thing. And it pops up and I'm thinking about it, and then I'm making a link, and then I see, shit, it's all connected.
It's unbelievable how much there is kind of going on in there. And I describe sometimes healing like a cartoon character, and they have a good idea, and there's like a little light bulb above their head, and it like goes off, and it's just like constant moments where you're like, oh dang, like,
oh yeah,
so
oh yeah, so all of that, and on understanding the triggers also, that was major, because I could feel them, I could react to them, but I didn't understand them, and I couldn't really identify them completely. So those are major issues for me. Those are major wins. They're what we'd call turning points, and they will become turning points in my recovery. They're not in my, they're the start of my recovery, because I'm not in, I consider my recovery the day I started the program. That's the start of my recovery. For me, that's how I consider it. The day I began the program is when I began my recovery. It's not when I'm going to begin the processing. It's because the change of mindset has such an impact on my life that it's a part of the recovery. So it's a whole. Then you wanted to know about my current situation. Is that still on the list of things you want to discuss?
I mean, you rock those questions. that is all that I have on my list. And I really appreciate you sharing all those things and being prepped for all those questions. Those are just ideas to kind of get the
On
ball
computer.
rolling. What's that?
They were done on computer.
You crushed them. I mean, you really, really crushed them. So thank you for sharing those things. And I'm so glad that like you consider the day that you started the program, like the beginning of recovery, because it really is, because it starts with that foundation, and that is so powerful, so important. And you have a lot to look forward to as well. Like a lot of people who don't know me and like are new being introduced to me and are like watching me give a training, they're like, Keeleen, what is wrong with you? Like, why are you so excited about this topic? And I'm like, I just see people change and heal, and like there's so much out there for them, and that's what's really exciting, is watching people grow and watching people heal. And it's like, yeah, it's like it's hard to see people in pain, and at the same time it's getting them to that next level and getting them out of that pain. That's what's exciting. So I'm really excited for the rest of your journey, and everywhere that you're going to kind of be taken with this work to get the processing work going. It's going to be a beautiful, beautiful journey, Mimi. So thank you so much for sharing all that you did.
I just want to read a sentence I wrote.
Sure.
It's when I talk about the progress I made, that I'm better equipped with all the recovery, the toolbox and everything. And I say that it comes from a place, from experience with trauma that is now healed, and now on a mission to healing others.
That's it. That
sums it.
That sums it up, right? And that's my biggest goal, and what I want everyone to do. Like I try to like kind of ethically convince everyone in the program, like, do your healing work, and then like let's go spread the word, and like let's all get out there and like rally people, because people are afraid to talk about this stuff. And it's it's not talking about trauma, it's not talking about negative stuff, it's talking about healing. It's spreading like the growth and like what's possible. And I've shared before in the Q&As, like this is not what I wanted to do for a living. And Brad had to convince me to do this. And I was like, listen, I don't want anyone to know that I've been through trauma or whatever. Like, healing was great. That was a gift. I'll work with people one-on-one, like locally, but like, I'm not interested in being the billboard for it. But he talked me into it. And so despite my best efforts to resist, this is truly what I want to do with my life. And I very much enjoy doing it. And it's a gift to be able to do it. And I kind of see that now when I didn't when I was younger. It's a gift to be able to have healing and to be able to spread healing. And just by doing what we're doing here today, maybe we are doing that, we're doing that together. So I want to thank you from the very bottom of my heart for being here, for being willing to jump on and share everything that you did. It touches so many people. And, sometimes what it does is what the webinar and my training did for you, is like, it touches someone at exactly the right moment in their life. And that's, kind of like what the content is seeking, is like, I just hope to catch someone at that perfect moment. And so that's why we keep putting stuff out, and, hearing from people that are like them is really, really important. Like, I know you mentioned you had nightmares, and like, I was I'm very visual, right? Even still, like nightmares, flashbacks I used to have. And, some people like just, they resonate with maybe the words that you use or the way that you speak, or, your personality and different things like that. And so it means a lot to me to have you here, because, I try not to put too much pressure on things that we do. And at the same time, like you mentioned, that webinar, being there in that moment, that saved your life, right? And that's what these things can do for people. So even whether we know it or not, some people, they like have that moment and they never reach out. Or some people get involved in the program and I never hear from them. I would not know them if I crossed them on the street. They do all their healing. The only reason I know is because they do a survey at the beginning and a survey at the end. And I see those surveys come into my inbox. I'm like, I have no idea who this person is. How special is that they get to do that on their own? It's beautiful. So that's my long-winded way, Mimi, of saying thank you again. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being willing to share.
My pleasure. If I can do anything to help the program like this, it will always be my pleasure. Like I said, you saved my life. And I don't mean that in a in a whimsical way. It's really true. I did not see, if I thought to myself, if I was a normal person with I'm not the type of person that is suicidal. I'm not, I've always considered suicide the easy way out. It's harder to live for me than to that's the way I see it. I've had friends that committed suicide, and that's the way I've always seen it. But I was at a point that I was thinking to myself, if I was normal in that way, and that I considered suicide an option, I would be considering it, because I couldn't see my life going anywhere otherwise than down. I was really doing everything I could. I was eating right, but I had an eating disorder. And everything I was trying was going up in smoke. And the office was going up in smoke too. So there was like, everything was, and I had no more cat. So you came in my life at the right time, really. And I will forever be thankful for that.
Well, thank you, Mimi. Thank you. And anyone that's kind of like listening to this, and like, I'm so glad that you shared that those feelings and like that experience of like being kind of that low, and like it was bleak. It was looking bleak. It was like there was nothing to look forward to. Like I've had those moments too. It's like when you're in that moment, it's really hard to see any possibility of anything getting better. And so like anyone that's there or has been there, like I just want you to know, like other people have been there, and there are ways out. There is life beyond those moments. And that we're living proof of that, living proof of life beyond those moments where it's like, dude, like there is just nothing else. Like this is, what am I even doing? Like I'm alone, nothing is going well, and I can't foresee anything getting better because I'm trying, and nothing is working. Yeah. Even in those moments, there is something else out there. So I'm so happy that you shared that, Mimi.
And you were talking about people that want like 30% of healing, or I want 100%, no less. From the start, that's what I want. And I'm ready. That's where I want to go, all the way, complete recovery. That's my objective, and that's the work I'm going to do.
And that's what you're going to get, Mimi. You really are. And I could have guessed that if I had to guess that was your goal, based on now getting to know each other a little bit more. But that's what you're going to get. You're going to get there. And the work you've already put in, you've seen the results of that. So you keep chipping away, you're going to get there. And I always tell people, it's like, I say like it happens slower than you want, but quicker than you expect, which is something really weird, because you kind of get to the end of the journey and like, you're like doing this day after day, week after week. And then, so you're like, oh my gosh, when am I going to get there? And then you kind of get there and you're like, oh, in the scheme of things, that was kind of fast. It's one of those kind of weird perspective things, but you're for sure going to get there, Mimi. And I'm proud of you for all the work you've put in and continue to put in. And I'm definitely
on the routines right now.
Awesome.
Yeah, I've changed my routines. I had some in place already, but I've changed with what the suggestions you had to really put some structure more, and I'm working on it.
You're working it, Mimi. That's awesome. That's awesome. And I'd love to touch base again, right? So like That would be amazing, whether it's in weeks or a couple months, whatever it is. Definitely schedule another one of these and we can jump back on, talk about more wins. You know, the goal of this, right, is wins, big, small, whatever it is. People can come on as many times as they want. We're going to have Bonnie on next week, which is really, really exciting. You know, Bonnie from the community, so that'll be fun to do. And it's just going to be fun to get to know everyone at a different level and just hear from people at a deeper kind of scale. So, I will wrap up though. Mimi, do you have any last kind of words before we jump off?
Well, I wish everybody with PTSD some healing, if not complete healing, depending on the work you do.
Well, that says it all, right? So, Mimi, again, thank you so much for being here, and I'm so excited to be doing this and to have actually met you. You know, like as close as we can get these days to be able to finally meet you. Keep
I'm
up the
happy
amazing work. Yeah, it's so cool to be able to. The world we live in is unbelievable. It rocks my world every day to be able to meet with people all over the world and do stuff like this. So thank you again, Mimi. Keep rock and rolling. Thank you for everything that you shared. And I look forward to jumping back on a call with you the next time
yes.
that you schedule one and talking more about wins. Thank you again. And I'll see you around the community.
Okay, cool.
All right. Thanks, Mimi.
Bye.
Bye.